Namaste. Um, Today, in Passages and Pranayama, um, I'm going to read from the Astavakra Samhita. This is a beautiful little book about, all things yoga philosophy, essentially. And it's broken up to many different chapters. There's a chapter on in this case, we'll be reading from the chapter on wisdom, on chapters a chapter on bondage and liberation, um, self-realization. There's, it runs the gamut, if you will. But it's a really, it's, I want to say it's easy to read. It's very consumable. But as we will see in this passage from the 11th chapter, like a lot of yogic teachings, they're not easy to apply to life. And when we think about like some of the material we'll bring up today, we've got to really consider where we fit in like the manifold spectrum of life, right? And how about if I get to that? We'll get to the passage first, and then we'll talk about that. So, as I mentioned, this is from the 11th chapter, the fifth passage, and it reads like this: She who has realized that it is care and nothing else that breeds misery in this world becomes free from it and is happy, peaceful, and everywhere rid of desires. So let me repeat that. She who has realized that it is care, right? To care for someone. Right? This is what Astavakra is speaking of here. So she who has realized that it is care and nothing else that breeds misery in this world becomes free from it and is happy, peaceful, and everywhere rid of desires. So this reads like so many other so many other things that we might read in various texts on yoga, where what is it about care, all right, that we must tackle first, right? Because essentially care breeds attachments to a thing, right? And if we care for something, then we become attached to it, and if anything bad comes of that thing, then we suffer. All right. Now, so I of course immediately go to my family, right? My immediate family, my extended family, and I of course care for them, and I don't want anything bad to happen to them. And because of that care, if something does bad happen to them, what happens? I suffer because of it. All right. I think about maybe things that are a little less dramatic. All right. Look at this plant right here. Right. I think of this plant, and I care for. I like taking care of plants. Right? And if anything bad happens to it, then I'm like, oh no. There's like a little seed um, of misery that comes along with that. That thing that goes wrong with it. So obviously, all right, we're weighing these things differently. All right. Now, ideally, yes, it's just Ashtavakra has stated that care just in general, care of anything is going to breed some level of misery at some point in your life. All right. So how do we rectify this? Because we're human, right? We're not like robots. I mean, well, if you decide to become, a mendicant or something like that, then maybe, right? That's the life that you choose to live, right? Sannyasi. But if you decide that, you are, a caring person, which, part of being a yogi is like, caring for other people essentially, and caring for what's righteous, right? And virtuous. So not that there has to be attachment that comes along with that care. Right? That's really important to remember. So even though we do develop attachments by caring for, our loved ones and for one another and things, um, having and cultivating a feeling of, I don't want to overuse the word detachment here, of indifference. I liken it to the idea that, yes, if you end up losing someone, or a pet or something that you really do care for in your life, it is fine to, have the emotions. It's the great thing about yoga, right? It's not stoicism. We're not just like, this thing has happened and I don't care, right? It is yoga where we have to feel our emotions, right? Process them correctly, witness them, and also be really well aware of how those emotions are going to affect our future thinking, our future karmas, or our future actions. Because if the seed of that misery that arises from the loss of someone, something that you care for has now changed the trajectory of your future karmas, then then it's having its negative effect. All right. So, I bring this up as an example oftentimes in talks, right? If you have a loved one, they're taking, someday when we can like fly, you know, take trips and fly on airplanes more regularly, and that person ends up, perishing in a, terrible um, accident, in the plane or something like that. If that then prevents you from flying, even though you may have been a traveler, a pretty regular traveler, then the seed of that misery has now changed the way you act. Right? And that's no good. Right? That's definitely no good. Um, of course, to Ashtavakra's larger point in caring, yes, it does mean that doesn't necessarily mean we don't care about things. It means that the attachments that come along with the things that we care for are ones in which we have to pay very close attention to. But we're human, right? And we're bound to have those things, those people that we do care for, and we just have to be very careful about our attachments to those things. All right. Well, very easy pranayama today. So sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, and maybe set your hands upon your knees, palms up, thumb and index together, and Gyam Mudra. Jalandhara Bandha, chin down, chest up. Let's first inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and exhale. We're going to practice Bastrika, bellows breathing today. So now, as you inhale, I want you to pull your belly forward as much as you possibly can. So it's very intentional belly breath. And then as you exhale, draw your navel all the way back. Try to coordinate the movements of the navel along with the rhythm of your breath. Just 5 rounds. Again, as you inhale, we're going to pull that bellows forward, navel forward. Exhale, draw it back. I get it way back here. I control those belly muscles. 3 more rounds. Inhale, navel forward, way forward. Puff, puff your belly out. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. And exhale back. Breathing natural. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Just take a few moments, keeping the breath regulated and your mind focused on your breath. Remove any other distractions, and we'll take a few moments of quiet reflection. Exhale. Deep inhale, shoulders rise. Now through your mouth, exhale. Shoulders back and down. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to keep yourself safe and help other people. Peace.